Okay, babe. See you in a bit. Hello? 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 Cool. No one tuning in. Come on. Come on. I need some people online. Evening, everybody. I hope you're well today. I haven't done a show for quite a while, so I hope you're all good. Looks like football's back soon. I thought I would do a preview show to the game coming up at the weekend. I'm really busy this weekend, so I wanted to get this done before I start a lot of things which I've got to start. I wanted to go through a couple of things today. I wanted to talk about how the players got on in the international break. I also wanted to catch up on some of the news. Obviously, we've got a number of players that are in headlines and in the headlines in various media outlets in countries, which I can talk about. I also wanted to talk a little bit about the game coming up. Also, some of the players that we've been linked with for January. Some interesting names that we'd all be quite excited about. And also kind of cover off the business. I wanted to do maybe an hour today. I know there's a Coppish show starting at 8, which I didn't really want to jump on top of. So I thought I'd do this one. I don't think anyone's done a preview yet, so I thought I'd be first to kind of cover that. And obviously catch up on all the news. I've been live with Jamie for the last couple of days, so I thought I'd do it myself. I'm not sure whether Mike Diaz might come in. He might do. Mike Diaz might jump in. I have asked him, but that was arranged for 8, but I had to move it to 7, so we'll see what happens. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do. If you've got any questions you want to ask, put them in the chat. And obviously, if you want to send me a super chat, please do. and let's crack on with the show. So, first of all, I wanted to just cover the international break. So 5 goals, 1 assist, 8 players having maximum minutes played. Also, big congratulations to Conor Bradley in becoming a captain for Northern Ireland, and also a massive congratulations to Konate as well for also taking the captain's armband for France. I think we kind of take for granted sometimes the captaincy at clubs, but for Conor Bradley, who's 21, to wear the armband is a major achievement. It really is, and especially for Konate, like France are one of the top teams in the world, and for him to get the captain's armband is a huge deal. So congratulations to him, and it looks like his contract is also on the way to being renewed in the next couple of weeks. I'll do a couple of quick shout outs while I've got people hanging out. Big up John, big up Shadowboxer, big up IBR Stella, big up Colin, and also big up Musings. Hope you're all well. So it was an interesting international break, I felt. Mainly a couple of reasons why it was an interesting international break for me. Whether you agree with me, let me know in the chat. It was interesting because we obviously had Mo Salah, who only played 1 game. He did score, and he was released back to Liverpool because of a potential injury, which wasn't really talked about anywhere. And the reason why he was released back is because Liverpool asked for him not to be played on an AstroTurf pitch for the second game against Mozambique. So that's an interesting one. Whether he plays on Sunday, I don't know, but we'll see what happens there. And obviously, Slot's got a press conference tomorrow at 9 o'clock to talk about the game. So we'll see what happens there. Virgil van Dijk obviously got a red card, and he came back early, but he did want to stay with the national team. But Liverpool actually said no. Back. Like, why are you staying with the national team when you can come back to the club? That might have something to do with maybe sitting down and speaking to him about contracts. I don't know. Like, we haven't really had a huge amount of space in the season where maybe we could sit down with him and his agent for a few days. Like, I don't know, but read into that as you will. So Virgil only played 1 game. Obviously, Cody Gakpo played both games, and also Gravenberch. The game that Virgil wasn't in was probably the worst I've seen Holland look this season. Without him in the team, they did look a bit shaky. And obviously I think that game was a draw, wasn't it, against Germany. Jota didn't really play the first game, but he played the second game, and he didn't really have a good game. And it was against Scotland as well, which Andy Robinson played, and also Ben Doak. And that was a brilliant result for Scotland to get a draw. Jota was picked instead of Rafael Leao, and Rafael Leao has been playing pretty well for Portugal recently. So it shows what faith Roberto Martinez has got in Jota, but he didn't have a great game. To be honest, no one really had a good game in that. they kind of stifled the game. Robbo played really high in that game, like basically like a left winger. I think the last game they played against Portugal, they got beat because Robbo didn't track his runner, which was Ronaldo, funny enough. But they got a good result away because they got beat at home last time. So, I mean, I spoke to Jamie about this on his show, and like the whole internationals, like especially the Nations League, it's just a pile of poop. Like it's just pointless. They're basically just international friendlies, but now they've made them into a competition, and no one cares. Like none of us care about it. Obviously, Trent had two games for England. Popped up with a free kick in the second game. Played really poor against Greece. If I'm honest, Tsimikas didn't play in that game. Well, I think Tsimikas came on for like the last 10 minutes in that game. So it's interesting that Greece beat England and they didn't play Tsimikas. I find that quite interesting that they didn't need to play Tsimikas. So was Tsimikas that good? You know, he's not even getting played against one of the biggest games. I don't know. Read into that as you will. Obviously, you've got Caoimhin Keller. Caoimhin Keller had 2 games, loads of saves he had to make, but lost. Dominic Szoboszlai had a great second game. They got beat quite comfortably in their first game. He had a great second game where he scored 2 goals, and scored a penalty and a really good finish from inside the box, getting a man of the match award. Looked really good, full of confidence. He's also just got engaged, so he's probably high on good vibes. Looking forward to seeing him kick on. Also, Curtis Jones was an interesting one. He got called up for England. We didn't bring him on against Greece when we really needed him against Greece because we were terrible in midfield. We needed a Curtis Jones in that game to just settle it, because like I have no idea what Declan Rice does, because like he seems to just play all over the place, not in any settled position, and he's supposed to be like the defensive midfielder where he just doesn't do any defensive midfield work. I thought that was an interesting one where he wasn't used, and then the second game he probably should have been used, but he came back from the camp early because he's just had a baby girl. So congratulations to Curtis Jones, who's now a dad. Darwin Núñez just had 2 poor games, like really looked unfit. He's been criticised by all of the nationals, his own country as well, by saying he looks overweight, he doesn't look fit enough, he looks out of sorts. These are the signs of a player that isn't putting a shift in. These are the signs of the player that's not confident. These are signs of the player that doesn't think they're good enough to get into a team. These are the signs of a player that's on his way out. And there's been heavy links to Barcelona for Núñez. Offer us 50 million, I'd bite your hand off. I'd take a loss on him now. Cody Gapco. Luis Diaz, another couple of great games, taking some brilliant form from his club into his international stage, and then bringing it back into the club again. I think it'll be interesting to see him play against Chelsea. Last time we played Chelsea, he was great, home and away. Obviously scored the goal that got the draw in the Chelsea game away last season. It was the first game of the season, from that unbelievable Mo Salah assist. He did miss another big chance though in that game. but I'd be interested to see Diaz kick on again. Trent Alexander-Arnold play for the under-18s, I believe. Might have been under-18s, maybe under-20s. I'm not sure. Tyler Morton played for the under-21s. Endo played for Japan. I think they got beat, or maybe drew. I'm not 100% sure. I don't really follow Japan that much. Alexis McAllister obviously missed the first game due to injury, came on in the second game, and then was brought off when they were winning like 4-0, 5-0. That was a walk in the park for them, 6-0. That was a Messi masterclass. And that's it, really. I mean, the guy who's probably going to be the fittest is probably going to be Costas, which is really interesting whether he gets a game against Chelsea. We'll see what happens. Obviously, a couple of players that aren't at the club that also played. You've got Mamardashvili that played 2 of the Georgia games and pulled off some insane saves. A lot of people I see seem to be talking a lot about him not being great with his feet. I don't know whether that's very important right now. Maybe that's something we'll look at further on down the line when we get him back. I have got some interesting stuff about Alisson, which maybe you think's true or not true, but we'll have a look into that. Obviously, Bendo played for Scotland. He looks like he's a Scotland regular now. Kate Gordon played for the maybe under 20s, but he did score his first goal on loan at Norwich. So congratulations to him. Kyle Kelly, I can't remember what country he played for, and obviously Calvin Ramsey. He came on for Scotland as well, maybe the Scotland under 21s. So all in all, a decent international run where we've got players back who are not injured, which is obviously good. So I wanted to cover this. Let me just close that. Yeah. So I want to just cover this. Why isn't that coming up? Is that coming up? Yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to cover this. I'll do a couple more shout outs as well. My mouse has stopped working. Big up MTOC. I don't know whether they did a shout out to you, but big up John. I'm well, thank you. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Doug's only what 19. Like he's got plenty of time. He's on a good loan at I think he's at Middlesbrough, isn't he? So he's at a good club where he can get some good game time, and he has, but he hasn't scored or assisted in any of the games that he's played. So let's just let him get a loan and get games, and then we can kind of judge if he's any good to get into a Liverpool team. Because at the moment, no, he's not. I'd certainly rather have Chiesa. My first team. So Manchester United are looking at Xabi Alonso, which would be really interesting if they approached him. I'd be shocked if he took the United job. But you know, if you don't buy a ticket, you can't win the lottery. So it looks like everybody's kind of going full throttle now with this Trent to Real Madrid news. There's loads of rumours that Trent may well have already agreed to a pre-contract. There's also a lot of rumours about that Trent has already told Liverpool that that they have to offer him wages as Mo Salah for him to stay and also make him captain. And I'm not making this up, by the way. He has come out in a number of interviews and said that he wants to be captain, and that's his aim at Liverpool. Like, he wants to be captain. So I don't know, but according to the Athletic, and let's be honest, the Athletic is basically Ornstein. Spanish giants have now made him their priority target. Journalist Mario Cortegana writes that Real Madrid are considering 4 right back with Trent, number 1. Tottenham's Pedro Porro, Bayer Leverkusen's Jeremy Frimpong, and Seville's Joan Lau are alternatives, but Liverpool's number 66 is their preferred option. Why is their preferred option? Is because Carlo Ancelotti is a big fan of Trent, like he has been since he was at Everton. He's been a huge admirer of him for a number of years. I also wanted to cover this. What is it? Here. So I don't know how true this is, but this is the front page of Marca, and this is a Spanish outlet. Like read it what you will. I don't know why my tab isn't coming up. Am I sharing the tab? Yeah. Okay. So read it, but I'm really sorry. My computer's freezing up. I'm just going to close something down. 2 seconds. I'm just going to close something down. Okay, hopefully that'll speed things up. Okay, so the article is that Trent has where is it? Yeah. So Real Madrid have secured a verbal agreement with Trent, according to a report by Ramon Alvarez Dimon. The report suggests that there is a total understanding for the Liverpool right back to join Los Blancos on a free in 2025. Though nothing has been officially signed yet, while the possibility of bringing him to Real Madrid in January 2024 is not entirely off the table, it remains a complex scenario. In addition, João Felix Diaz from Marca has confirmed that Real Madrid believe Alexander-Arnold is unlikely to renew his contract at Liverpool, further fueling the anticipation of his move to Spain, with the club continuing to monitor the situation. It's evident that Real Madrid are keen on securing the services of one of the world's most renowned fullbacks. Now, what I will say is, and I'll also bring up another article because there's a lot of Trent stuff that's ongoing now. So this is the Ancelotti piece. I'm just closing some screens down because it's really lagging on my computer. Close tab. Sorry about this. Yeah. So the reason why I'm seeing all this stuff come out is it probably doesn't help the interview we had for when he was on England duty. There's a lot of things that came out. Big up, Mikey. Hope you're well. Also, big up, Gary. I can see people flooding in now. Maybe there was another show on that you were watching. Anyway, you're coming in now. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do, and hit the likes early on if you haven't. So the reason why I think this might have some legs is because he said in the England interview that he was speaking to Eze, and he basically said he doesn't know whether he'll win another trophy again, and he wants to have a legacy. And he also wants to be captain, and he also wants more freedom, and he's just not going to get that. He's just not going to get that at Liverpool. Like, he's not going to be able to just go and be able to do what he wants at all times. Like, he seems to be able to do that at England for some reason right now, when he did it under Carsley, and he was all over the place. But he still pops up with a free kick, and he does his celebration, and it's all about Trent. For me, I mean, I've said it a number of times now. I think he's been a big problem for a couple of years now. And I think if we got rid of him, I think we'd be over him within a couple of months. Like, I really do. I think he'll all just be forgotten. And the next guy can come in, because it's always been about him, and no one's ever been able to get a chance on the right-hand side. And we've got a guy there in Connor Bradley who is more than capable of being able to fill that position moving forward. You know, I think he's probably better defensively right now. He's got more pace. Like, obviously on the ball, he's just not. No one's going to be as good on the ball as Trent. Hang on, Mike. I'll put the link in. If you want to jump in, mate, use this link. Yeah. So for me, I mean, if Real Madrid came in with an offer of like 20, 25, 30 million in January, would you take it for Trent, for him to move on in January, and for him not to go on a free at the end of the year? Sorry, in July. I mean, would you take that? Because look, we've been linked with another right back, and this guy, a lot of people are talking about, and he plays in Italy, and his name is I want to make sure I pronounce it right. I think it's Coyote. Is it Coyote? Anyway, I'm going to bring up some more articles about Trent as well. So this is another one. This is Real Madrid. So club have contacted Liverpool star's brother about a move, and want to present their own proposal. And this is what Real Madrid do. Real Madrid go to the agents, and they deal with everything with the agents. How you doing, mate?
Yo, what's going on?
Let me just turn my headphones up. Yeah, they go to the agents, and they get all of these things done behind the scenes, and then there's just too much of a just like it's like a dam's been broken with a lot of players. Like they've done so much background work that when it comes to the club who got the player and they're leaving or they've got 6 months left or whatever, they can't reel him back. Like he's too far down the line. And they use their players. They use their players and they use their links, and also the fact that they're always winning the Champions League. They're always in the Champions League. You know, it's hard to go against a club which has got that much history behind it and it's got that much success, no matter who they put in charge, whether it's Jose Mourinho, whether it's Rafa Benitez, whether it's Ancelotti. Doesn't matter who they get in, or Zidane. Doesn't matter who they get in. They're always there. And for Trent, he's won everything. Like, has he got that? I don't know. Has he still got that passion to go and win more at Liverpool and go through it again with a new guy? I don't know. What do you think, mate?
I think. All right. Well, like I said yesterday, the main issue here, and the main reason why I think that his contract was even allowed to get down to under 12 months was because 10 months ago, the manager said he was leaving. And so 10 months ago, Trent had a year and a half left in his contract, which is around the time he probably would have started negotiating. Because of that major paradigm shift, Trent, I don't think, knows what he wants. I think that if you were going to look into the comments that he made during that England interview, to me, that doesn't represent surety. That represents, essentially a lack of knowing where he is, right? Like, to me, that says, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what I'm like. I don't know what to do. I'm not in a position to make a decision right now, but here is something that I do want. Like, this is something that I do know. I want more trophies. However, I don't know where I can go or where I will be in order to get those trophies. So the main question number one, do I like Arne Slot? Can't answer that in 10 games. It's just not possible. I'm sorry. Like, it's not even, we're in the middle of October. What are we, 2 months into the season? You can't know for sure. It's like a relationship. Once you start it, you're not going to figure it all out within 2 months. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to take at least.
It's a good start so far. That's all I can say. It's a good start.
Exactly. It's a good start. He's working on the defensive portion of his game. One thing I will say is that when Trent has been allowed to do whatever he wants to do, he has sucked. Like, he has sucked, right? When Trent first came up and was getting 10 plus assists per season, he was playing as a right wing back, and he was only playing there. He wasn't inverting into the midfield. The second you started to let him invert into the midfield, that's when things went haywire and we didn't win anything. And we were defensive. We were just a defensive calamity. So, and then if you look at him in England, I mean, even Roy Keane coming out and saying how shitty he is defensively. Excuse the language, sorry, but how poor he is. How poor he is defensively. So to me, if I'm in Trent's circle, I'm saying, hold on, buddy. I don't think that what you need in your life right now is to do whatever you want, because that's a grade A prescription to get absolutely nowhere. And if you go to Real Madrid, we can all sit here and we can make conjectures and we can say, oh, Ancelotti's just going to let this dude do whatever he wants. But you're just ignoring all of the other players in that system who are superior to him, who get to do what they want. I'm sorry, but Tchouaméni, Valverde, Camavinga, I'm taking that midfield. If I'm those three, I'm not letting Trent into that midfield. I'm not letting this dude who wants to hog the ball and be the center of the tension invert from right back and take my space where I'm dominating in the past. And then you got the front three of Rodrigo, Mbappe, and Vinicius. Again, tell me why you need a Trent in that system. Obviously, it's a luxury, but it's not a necessity. And to me, Trent sits 5th, 6th on that list of players in terms of not just overall capability, but just being a well-rounded player. Trent may be one of the most creative passers of the ball in the world, but to be honest with you, if you look at him pretty objectively, he's a one-dimensional player at the moment. He's yet to prove his capabilities in midfield. He's yet to prove his defensive capabilities like he did earlier on in his career. But to me, the main question is, does he like Arne Slot? I don't think he knows that yet. So I don't think that he's ready to start negotiating because he doesn't even know if this is the manager that he wants. It doesn't worry me that he's taking so long. It doesn't worry me that he might not have a contract done by January because I don't think that he's going to sign a pre-contract agreement in January. You'd basically be just telling all of Liverpool, fuck you, and you would destroy the legacy that you have here. And for someone who cares about legacy, he would want to leave gracefully. And if he were to leave on a free, we would blame
I'm playing devil's advocate here, and some really good points, by the way. And I do agree with the Real Madrid thing as well. Like you ain't a shoo-in, mate. You're going to work your ass off to get into that team.
You're not walking into that.
Michael Owen.
You're not walking into that midfield. I'm sorry, it's just not happening.
Yeah. So playing devil's advocate, is this a case of maybe he's holding off so we maybe sell him and then it doesn't look like he's leaving the club, and that's why it's gone a bit quiet, and that's maybe we've thrown a few contracts in front of him and he's just gone, nah, I want this, I want that.
The problem now is that I try to stay away from those trains of thoughts because I
do feel like if they came in with like 30 million, maybe
we'd
35, 40 million, I think we'd sell him.
If he wants to leave, I would sell him for 15. If he wants to leave, I'd sell him for 5. Like I'm not like, if he wants to go and I'm Michael Edwards and he said I'm going to Real Madrid, I'll sell you for 500 grand. I'm not selling you for free. Like I'm not letting you just walk out, right? Now will Real Madrid do that considering their financial restrictions right now and the play that they're trying to make? I don't know, especially with, financial fair play coming in, cracking down on teams. I don't even know if Real Madrid have 30 million to spend on Trent Alexander-Arnold, but I don't think that he's even made that decision yet. I genuinely don't think that he'll be ready to make up his mind until April, right? Like if we're in contention to win trophies, if we look like we can win the Premier League, if we're deep into the Champions League, maybe we're deep into the FA Cup, I think that's going to be the real signifier, right? Like, if we're top of the league,
still at it?
Exactly.
Are we still at it?
And then imagine we're top of the league and we buy a player in January. Like Arne Slot says, I don't care. Go spend 70 million on Zubimendi. This is the player I want. Make it happen. Pay 20 mil above the release clause. Okay, fine. Like you're showing ambition. You're showing me that you're willing to go after it. But again, I also think ultimately it comes down to the fact of how is Arne going to play me? Do I think that this will suit me? If I have to be better defensively, what am I going to look like offensively? He's taking me off because he's trying to save my legs. Okay, I get that. It's going to be way more about the cohesiveness between Slot and Trent. And I think that comment is rooted in the unsurety of whether or not he thinks that Arne can win trophies. I think that if he comes to the belief that Arne can win trophies, he'll stay. If he thinks that Arne can't win trophies, he'll leave. And so if you really deep the comments, that's what I think the underlying meaning is there. So it has way more to do with Arne Slot than it does Michael Edwards or Richard Hughes or FSG. And ultimately, if he leaves, I think that's what the basis has to be. And we can't blame anyone for that if the player doesn't believe in the manager. Because if he doesn't believe in the manager, I don't want him. And to be honest with you, his stats, like I love Trent. I think he's got generational talent when it comes to creating, but the stats don't lie. Like it's not even remotely close to what it was during that 3-year stretch. No. I think in that 3-year stretch, he had double what he has had in the last 4 years. Yeah. So, a lot of it is emotional.
And now as well, the last 2 years, he seems to be the guy that doesn't win the most tackles. He doesn't win the most duels. Players go past him the most. There's a lot of negative stuff, which, I mean, the thing about it as well is, like, I gave him so much grief last season and the season before, by the way. But I still sat there and thought, it's not your fault. Like, you've been put in a position to do things that there's not many players that can do those things. Like, there's not many players that could do the amount of jobs that was asked of Trent the last 2 years. And there's not many players that could do the things that were asked of Canate in the last 2 years.
Well, that was what I was about to say. When you ask him to
Both
do that,
players suffered.
yep, yep.
Yeah,
Konate was getting grief for no reason because
yeah.
Trent's leaving him on an
He's getting
island
injured.
Against Martinelli and
Everyone
Havertz
now,
and Odegaard.
100%. And everyone calls him like an injury-prone player now because he was getting injured because of the amount of workload he was having to do to cover for Trent, who was being asked to go into midfield and do other mad stuff. This was an interesting one as well because you talked about this. You talked about the similarities of Beckham on a couple of shows ago, and Beckham's actually come out and said, like, I see myself in Trent. That's a bit weird, if I'm honest, because Trent should probably see himself in you.
Yeah. Well, David Beckham doesn't exactly have the smallest ego. But outside of that,
biggest brain.
okay, yeah. If you're gonna deep, so if you lose Trent, right? What is the only irreplaceable part of Trent? The creativity on a dead ball, the creativity from a pass, right? So if you lose Trent, what are you losing? You ain't losing anything defensively. You're losing a world-class service and you're losing free kick / set pieces, right? Like if Trent leaves, that's where I'm the most concerned. Who's taking these short free kicks? Who's taking those corners? And who's providing the world-class ball into the box from the right side of the pitch? If you can, I mean, depending on how Arnie wants to play, that might not even be a core fundamental of this team. So far, Trent isn't exactly a centerpiece in our offense. Yes, he does provide some incisive passes, but it's not exactly like the ones that he's provided this season are world class or otherworldly or can't be made by other people.
His pass completion is the lowest it's been, like since he was about 20. Like I think he's at 73. That's really low for Trent. Like, and the amount of balls he gives away, long balls now, is frightening. Like Konate's got a better long ball delivery than him this season, which is insane.
which again, it just like the more you think about it, the more it feeds into this idea of do I feel like slot is good for me? Or do I feel like slot can unlock a different part? Szoboszlai, yes, if it's a direct free kick. I'm talking about, for instance, the Konate header, right? Like it's on the what's it called?
Oh yeah.
It's to the left of the box. He has to cross it into the box. I'm not talking about a direct free kick that he puts in the net.
I mean, to be fair, if Trent wasn't taking the corner, you wouldn't have been in that position. So maybe the other person would have been in that position, which is the likes of, I don't know, Robbo or Tsimikas. I mean,
Robbo hasn't been good at delivery, but he hasn't been good. Tsimikas has been our best delivery.
Robbo's corners have been atrocious this season. First man every time. Yeah, I mean, I do rate Tsimikas' set pieces and his free kicks. They are good. Like he gets a lot of assists because of them. But he just doesn't play. Like, and I also talked about him. He's probably our fittest player because he only played 8 minutes in the last internationals. So I don't know whether he'd even get a game. What else did I want to mention? I did want to mention Dom. So Dom scored 2 goals on the international break. So Dom started getting the goals again, like not to the extent that maybe we want him to, but he has got a couple of goals this season now, which is good to have someone who's not rusty in front of goal, and also Konate took the captain's armband for France. That's huge. That's a big deal for me, that. And that's ahead of Saliba, who everyone raves about.
I'll take Konate over. I'll take Konate over Saliba. I'm sorry. If a fit Konate is the amount of ground that he can cover, this like his size. I mean, first off, he's a massive center back. He's got exceptional pace. He covers ground great, and people overlook his ability to pass. Everyone forgets about the pass in the 95th minute of the World Cup final that Kolo Muani just shit the bed on. That's a world-class ball that could have won a World Cup. If that goes in, the entire stance of Konate has changed. But because it doesn't, and because that's the way that football fans think, you just ignore his ability to pass the ball. And then listen, Szoboszlai, his biggest weakness is his first touch. If he can fix his first touch and he doesn't give away the ball so easily, the rest of his game will gain confidence. But that's like him in front of goal is not what I'm worried about. It's him losing possession of the ball during an attack that I'm worried about.
I mean, I'm not gonna go into the Szoboszlai thing.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. He's an enigma.
What do you think of this one? I think this one's quite funny. So Alex Ferguson's been sacked before Ten Hag.
They're in shambles.
Can you believe he was on millions a year just to be the ambassador? Like, I think some of our ambassadors do it for free.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I mean, I don't know the kind of power that an ambassador has.
We had Ian Rush and John Barnes and Robbie Fowler, and I'm not like we had them as ambassadors. I think John Barnes is still an ambassador, but they got rid of Fergie. Yeah, I think he's still part of like some board thing or something. But
yeah. Long may it continue.
They sacked. Have you heard this? This is hilarious. They sacked the kit man, who'd been with them for like, I think he'd been with them for like 15 years or something, maybe even longer. And they gave him a kit with his name on the back, and like there's like a picture of him, like them presenting him with the kit, and he looked really sad because obviously he's been at the club for like for a long time. And I was thinking, did he have to print his own? Did he have to get his own kit?
Print it himself to then give it? Yeah. I don't know.
He's like, why am I printing this? Like, why have they got an email saying I need to print this? And they obviously didn't tell him.
They're an absolute joke.
I just thought that was funny.
They're an absolute joke.
Have you also heard about this as well? So you know that referee, that Virgil had a big argument with, John Brooks. We've got him for the Chelsea game.
Listen, at least it's not Michael Oliver.
Oh no, I mean, I think if they gave us Oliver, then we'd all be shouting corruption. But he's probably got the City game.
Listen, if you ever want to go into a really interesting rabbit hole of just pure conjecture, look up Michael Oliver's history refereeing Man City games. It's mind blowing.
Everton handball. There was a Jack Grealish handball. There's so many.
He's awarded like 13 penalties to them, and he is given. Insane. He's also awarded no penalties against them. It's absolutely ridiculous. But I mean, listen.
Yeah, go on.
I was just whoever the referees would be.
They had to cancel the referees working abroad because of what happened with him. No, that fiasco where they did the UAE games and then came back and then did one of the worst refereeing games ever.
It's ridiculous.
Okay, so what we can do is we can talk a little bit about the Chelsea game. Hang on. So, this guy as well actually has come up. What do you think about this guy?
I haven't heard anything about anything transfer.
Yeah, so he plays for Fiorentina. Is it Fiorentina?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Italian international. Yeah, so he plays for Fiorentina, and we've got good relationships with them. Yeah, that's him, Michael Coyote. He's available for 20 million. I mean, he's really good in Football Manager.
Listen.
Really good.
I don't care who it is. I feel like the club needs a capable center back. If he ends up becoming a gem, great. But we need another center back because our fourth center back is a better left back than a center back. and the other one is 20 years old and is going through a bunch of shit off of the field. You need a center back, and you need another quality double pivot midfielder. If you can get those two things in January, easy money. Done. Don't care. Don't care who it is. Make it happen. So yeah, I mean, I'd love this. I mean, he's only 20 years old. I don't know anything about him. If I don't know anything about him, he's probably going to be amazing. Didn't know shit about Konate before he came. Didn't know shit about Joel Matip before he came. Bring it on.
So, so talking about midfielders, this guy's been linked with us again. He sounds like a medication that you take, Sudakov.
Yeah.
But he's been linked with us again, and I talked about this guy last year. He's a Ukrainian international. He's like the next one off the conveyor belt, but he looks really good. He's been playing well for his club, and obviously he's pretty good for Ukraine. He's really good at progressive carries and obviously take-ons, and he's really high on the non-penalty goals as well, and shot creation actions. I mean, he looks like a really good player. Like, we seem to get linked with quite a few midfielders now that would play in the Dominic Szoboszlai position, which concerns me a bit, because it makes me think that, are we looking at a replacement for him already, or are we looking at maybe him being a reserve for one of the two in midfield now, and we're looking for a guy to cover that role? Like, I always thought he was the guy and Elliott was the reserve, if that makes sense.
I mean, the problem is that I don't think that we're going to go out there and buy a quote unquote DM, because I don't think that Arne Slot is going to play that way. I think whoever he's going to buy has to have the capability of playing all three positions, which I think all three of those midfielders right now can do. To me, the best scenario, my personal opinion, you get someone like a Zubimendi, and then you push McAllister forward. So McAllister plays where Szoboszlai plays, and Zubimendi plays where McAllister plays. Then you have that double pivot with Mac, who I just think ultimately he's 1,000 times better up there. And then all of a sudden you have Szoboszlai who can come in with his defensive work and substitute for Gravenberch or Zubimendi. And then you have Elliott and you have Curtis Jones who could come in and play the progressive role, which is, I think that Curtis looks better if he gets the ball in the opponent's half and he drives forward. Harvey Elliott, obviously, Harvey Elliott, that's his bread and butter. And McAllister,
they're both natural. They're both natural attacking midfielders, like both of them.
Exactly.
Like God knows why we decided we try and take that out of both of them. The McAllister as the attacking midfielder, I'm all for that. Like, I also think our goal tally will go up on the midfielders if you play him, because I think he's got a goal in him, like most games. Like, he's good at finishing chances, but it's just as intelligent to be able to just play the right pass. Like, I know this is a weird one, but I actually said this a long time ago. I said the only way Núñez might be able to work for Liverpool is if we played McAllister closer to him, and McAllister could provide for him, because he could do the defense splitting passes that just go through the defense, and Núñez doesn't have to hold his run. He doesn't have to pick a foot. Like, McAllister would just put it there. He would make most of the decisions for him to just go, oh, I've just got to hit it. Like, and I always thought that could work because Núñez hasn't got a brain, and it's all there for him, just on a plate. Like, a bit like Haaland, really. Like, Haaland doesn't. I don't think Haaland's got a massive football brain, but I just think he's just brawn and he's really good at his routines and the runs and the things that he does, and he just does them over and over again repetitively. And because he's such an animal, people can't really stop him. What else? I wanted to talk about this one as well. So there's articles now in the French media saying that the PSG are itching to get another
It's so stupid.
massive Mbappe signing in, like a big marquee signing, because they've only signed some kid from another French team for like 60 million, and João Neves. I mean, would you take a big offer from PSG for Salah if you knew he wasn't going to sign a new contract?
I mean, yeah, if I knew he wasn't going to sign a new contract, of course. But
I do think they're probably the only club that could get him, because I don't think he's interested in going to Saudi Arabia because he doesn't want to play in front of 100 fans. But
he's got records to break. I don't know. I really don't think that PSG is a place to go, especially for someone who's in the position that Mo's in. Why are you going to want to go to PSG and try to rebuild them when you're 32 years old? Doesn't really make a lot of sense. There's no guarantee of anything other than a fat paycheck every week, and you have records that you're close to breaking. Like you're 40 goals away from 200 in the Premier League. You're 9 assists away from David Beckham in the Premier League. Like you can go down as the greatest Premier League winger to ever play on the board, statistically speaking. So I don't see it. Also, with his comments, it feels to me like he's basically forcing the issue and saying, "Put the contract in front of me right now, please." And I'm going to keep saying these things until you start putting the contract in front of me because I want to sign it and get this over with. But yeah, listen, if he were motivated by money, I think he would have left for Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I don't think he's motivated by money. I know we did give him a massive pay rise, but I also
has so much money. He's got so much money.
An article as well, and this is mad. Like you can look at this yourself, people in the chat, and if you haven't hit the like and subscribe, please do. I think he's in the top 10 of the most money that goes to charity for sportsmen in the world. Like he gives a lot of money to charity every single year. I think it's 9% of his salary off the top of my head, which is huge. I mean, that's a huge amount of money that just it goes to whatever charities. Like I don't know what charities he does, but I know he does a few. This has also come up as well. I don't know whether this is clickbait, like if I'm honest, but I wouldn't be surprised if we maybe looked at selling Ali next year.
See that? I don't know. I understand
Liverpool are open to offers for Alisson because of the injury record recently, and we're also letting Keller leave, which I think is an interesting one. So then you've got a new goalie who keeps on coming out in the media and saying he can't wait to come to Liverpool and he's determined to take the number 1 spot, which is fine. I'm all for any players backing themselves, but he's done 0 yet, and he's not played in the Premier League either, which is a huge step up. And then you've got Jaros, who's only played like 1 game, like for 20 minutes. He looked okay, but he's not played enough. Yeah, like Keller, I'm absolutely fine with. Like I'm fine with Keller. Like I'd be fine with Keller for the rest of the season. Like I think
I don't think Ali's going to be out that long. The problem with Alisson for me is that I think that you have Kelleher.
Have you actually looked at the record of Liverpool wins under Alisson and Keller now in the last, I think it's the last 2 years? Keller's got a better record, a 75% to 65% win ratio. Isn't that mad though?
But you have to remember who's Kelleher playing against.
Yeah.
But I think that, to me, what looks like the plan is that you got Mamardashvili coming in next season. You offload Kelleher. You let Ali play in front 1 more season with Mamardashvili behind him. And at that point, with the age that Alisson would be, I would say If he wants to re-sign for a deal that's going to, be in our benefit, great. But if Mamardashvili looks like he can take this over, it's time to move on. And I would be okay with letting Alisson go on a free. Ultimately, because he's a goalkeeper, and because to me, what's more imperative is that Mamardashvili get a full season under Alisson. Kind of like how they do in the NFL. You draft a quarterback, he plays his season underneath the star quarterback, and then he becomes the quarterback. That's, to me, the best formula for integrating, the new central role of your system. And let's be honest, the goalkeeper is the most important thing when it comes to winning big tournaments, and when it comes to winning Premier Leagues. So that would be the more ideal thing. I don't want to sell Alisson before Mamardashvili gets here. I want Mamardashvili to play a full season under him, and then if we have to let him go for free, I don't care, because I've gotten my investment now, and now I need to back the new guy. But I think Alisson wants to stay. I don't think he wants to leave, and it was like partially his idea. The club approached him before we went after Mamardashvili, and Alisson said, yes, I think that's a great idea. Go do it, because I'm not going to be here forever. I know that his injury record's a little bit concerning because of the hamstring, but it is what it is.
I mean, God, if your hamstring can snap just because you get a pass back from Trent, what else have we got? Obviously, Liverpool have been banned from watching any of Chelsea's under 18s. And now we're linked with this guy. He's a right back. So maybe we had a good look at a couple more of them, and then we knew we were getting banned, and we're going to go and take some more.
I don't know why they ban us, because they stole Caicedo and Lavia. Yeah, it is what it is. Chelsea are. I mean, if I'm Chelsea, I'd want to sell whatever I can, because until I start getting better, all this money I spend is just depreciating in value. There's a lot of pressure on them this season, because if they don't produce, what are you going to do? You can't go out there and spend more money.
True. What did you think of? I just brought this one up as well. What did you think of Núñez in the internationals? 2 blanks, full played both games up front on his own, no goals. He's been what's the name? He's been like singled out as looking like he's got poor fitness, and that's not a good sign, is it? Especially when you haven't played a huge amount of football, and you should be like training and making yourself as ready as you can be.
It's all up here with Darwin Núñez. Everything good or bad right here. Guy just lacks composure, and he lacks patience, and unfortunately he's just got. I mean, I think he's probably got a lot of mental fatigue. I'm sure he's not loving the amount of minutes that he's playing. But the question is he the kind of guy who has the work ethic to get back there? I don't know. I mean, his reaction last season, deleting all the Liverpool photos, that shows mental instability to me. And ultimately, the big problem with him is that he just tries to put his head down and smash everything. He's not composed in front of goal, which is what you need from a striker. And he's got one of the worst conversion rates in history. I mean, the dude should have been on 40 goals last season in all competitions if he finished it at 25%. If he had the same efficiency in front of goal as Rasmus Højlund, he would have ended the season with like 25 Premier League goals. And this is Rasmus Højlund we're talking about. People love to take the piss out of Rasmus Højlund.
Yeah,
that should tell you something. But the problem is that he's not going anywhere. Like, no one's buying this dude for more than 40 million. We ain't taking a 50% loss on him. And we don't have the facilities to replace him at the moment.
You think we loan him to Turkey?
But who are we going to replace him with? I don't have another striker. I've got an injury-prone striker who hasn't gotten injured yet as my main number 9. I don't have anybody else. I mean, maybe you got Jaden Dans, but I don't even know if he's healthy yet. And the kid's 19 years old. So
he's injured. Yeah.
The
That's an interesting one with Jaden Dans. a lot of that's gone quiet, but he's got a really bad back injury which he got last season before the end of the season. And I've talked about this for so long. Like we should never have been playing our under 17s or under 18 players in the first team training setup. That should never have happened. Like they should never be getting men's training on a regular basis. And all the ones that did in your Dokes and your, if you got your Dokes, you've got your Batesic, you've got your Dans. There's a couple of others who got injured for ages. I'm trying to think of the names. Ramsey was one of them. Who's the other player that got injured? Oh, Kay Gordon. There's quite a few of them, all injured with like abductors and back injuries. Like 3 of them got back injuries. Yeah, Bobby Clark got injured as well. It's true. Yeah, they should never have been playing. It was interesting as well because on the preseason, one of the like training sessions, there was like 3 of our under 18s that went, and they weren't on the training sessions. And Slot got asked, "Oh, how come Trey Ione and blah 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 isn't in the training session?" And he just said, "He's a kid. He doesn't have to do the training sessions. Like he needs to be rested. Like they shouldn't be doing this much training." And I just listened to that and I just thought, wow, you know your shit. And if you look at the squad, the only players that have been injured really is the hamstring for Ali, which was kind of a freak one, really, wasn't it? Curtis Jones got a little niggle. You've got Elliott that got just that was an under 21 England under 21 injury, wasn't it? McAllister's was with the club. Mo Salah's, which he got recently, was with his international. Like a lot of them haven't been at the club.
Yeah,
which I think's really good. Like I think that bodes really well moving forward. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Chelsea game. I haven't got a huge amount of data on this because they're not
all the
previewing it anyway.
All the data's right here.
Yeah, they're not previewing any of it really. So hang on, it's here actually. This is what I wanted to talk about. Sorry. Yeah. So I think what's interesting as well is Chelsea are going to be without Cucurella and Fofana through suspension. Do you know that?
Now I do. I did not know that.
Now they're big players. Like I think Cucurella's been really good for them this season. Really good. I think he's a good player anyway, to be fair. But I think he's been really good for them this season. So he's suspended, and so is Fofana because of 5th yellow card.
Maresca really likes Fofana.
Oh yeah. Obviously Reece James is injured. He's always injured.
Yeah.
So they drew 1-1 with Forest before the international break. So everyone's saying that, like, you know, Nottingham Forest are garbage and we got beat by a crap team. I think they're a bit underrated. I think they're a bit underrated.
Very good defensively. Very good defensively, and they also played a back 6 against us.
Yeah, and they got some lightning wingers. We've always had trouble against lightning wingers, to be fair. We obviously tonked them last season at Anfield. I think it was 4. I think it was 4-1, wasn't it? Was it 4-1?
Yep.
That was when Bradley decided to do Messi.
And Darwin hit the post 4 times.
For us. Huh?
And Darwin hit the post 4 times.
Was that a penalty as well?
One of them was a penalty, and 3 of them were from open play.
Oh my God, he's not playing. I mean, do you, okay. So if I showed you the league table now, Do you think that's how the league table will end this season? The end of the season?
I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest with you.
Chelsea I think Chelsea might be 4th or 5th. Like, I do.
Yeah, I don't. Tottenham have regressed. Newcastle United are not the same, and now they're going through the motions with Isak. West Ham suck. United are United. The only real teams that I see genuinely fighting for that 4th spot are going to be Chelsea and Aston Villa. Aston Villa are a little bit inconsistent. Chelsea have a lot to prove, so I need to hold them to a different standard as everyone else. But I would not be surprised if Chelsea end up 4th and Villa end up 5th, or you flip it around. Brighton are a pretty solid team, but I don't see them finishing in the top 4. And unfortunately, I don't see any of the other clubs doing it, just because I think everyone has regressed. I think a lot of clubs have regressed this season.
Yeah, I think it's a huge opportunity for us this year. I really do. I talked about this a while ago that I always felt it didn't matter what manager we got in. I just felt we've got a squad that could finish 3rd anyway. But I felt if we got all our ducks lined up and we managed to get all the coaching staff sorted and we managed to just negate needless injuries for overplaying players constantly because they're your mates and it doesn't matter how shit they are, you still play them. I always felt we'd be right up there because we just had everything in place. Like, there were so many clubs that just they're still going through like a bit of a transition. I think Man City are going through a bit of a transition as well, like because they've got players that are getting old. They've got players that they've been at the club for so long and won so much. So whether they're going to go again and again, and yeah, it was an interesting one. I mean, Savio is a good signing for them. Like,
great,
fantastic. So crooked that signing, but it's what it is. Like he was like 20 odd million for a club that's never signed a player for that long, and he never played for them. Like, they bought him for like a world record fee and then loaned him out. That's not.
My hands are off. I'm not talking about City. My hands are off.
Mad. Have we got anything else to touch on here? So, yeah. So, what do you think? Actually, it's another page here. Sorry. So these are the these are kind of the odds. Like, I don't really like doing the odds because of the Forest game. But the last 5 games, the last 6 games, all wins for Liverpool. Chelsea, just 1 draw, so they're on some good form as well. Obviously, Premier League, they're on some good form as well. They've dropped a couple of points though. I think, who did they draw their other game with? Do you know? They drew against Forest.
It was another shit team. I got you. Hold on. I know it wasn't a good game.
Wasn't
it? They drew to Forest and they drew to Palace. No, Palace.
Okay. Okay. So they were both away games as well, weren't they? Oh, that Forest game was at home.
No, yeah, the Forest game was at home.
That's interesting.
Actually, I also think both of them were at home.
They were at home, weren't they? Okay.
Yeah.
So they've been good away, which is an interesting one.
They haven't played it away.
They haven't.
No, the teams that they've played away are. I'll tell you right now.
Okay, so they had fixtures and results.
They played Brighton away.
I'm looking at it now.
Wait,
okay, so the Palace game was Eze scoring an equaliser.
West Ham away, Bournemouth away.
They battered Wolves away. But that was 2-2 at one stage. They got beat by Man City.
Yeah, but these are garbage teams. I think they've only had 3 away games.
Yeah, they have.
This is their 4th away game.
They got beat by Serviette away.
Mm-hmm.
they only beat Bournemouth 1-0, and that was like a Nkunku. I think it was like they got battered in that game. I watched the highlights to that. They obviously beat West Ham. Yeah, West Ham are garbage right now.
They're fodder.
Yeah, they've not had any hard games. This will be their hardest game away. Obviously, apart from I know they haven't played Man City away. So this will be their hardest game away. So this will be their hardest game away and our hardest game at home, which is interesting. What score do you think it would be?
I mean, I'm looking forward to how Arnie is going to change the setup, because I think that a change in setup is most definitely needed. Issues that I've had in the past, albeit most of them have occurred when we were up 2-0. Sometimes we tend to just fall asleep a little bit, and we concede too many counterattacks. And against this team with this front line and Cole Palmer, I'm not comfortable with that. But I don't respect their back line. I don't respect Chelsea's defense. I know that they've been better this season, but they haven't played anybody. And when they did, they lost 2-0. I think that if we're able to concede a little bit of possession, play some counterattack ball, we'll get the better of this team. But the problem to me is going to be Chelsea's counter. Can we outnumber them? Can we keep them from punishing us? Can Szoboszlai keep himself from losing the ball needlessly in the opponent's half? What's our possession base going to be set up as? How are we going to deal with Chelsea's press? Because we know that they're going to come out with a lot of energy in those first 15 to 20 minutes. I'd like to see us concede some possession and play a more attacking style. But, Slot hasn't done anything to say that I don't trust him in any sense yet. And I'm just going to have to see how he's going to take this first test. But I don't think that Chelsea are going to come in here and, batter us or anything like that. I think that I could see a 2-0 win. I could see a 3-1 win. The important thing to me is I don't want to concede against this team, and I want to win by 2. I want it to be emphatic. But to me, the biggest issue is the counterattack for Chelsea. How are we going to neutralize that? How are we going to keep ourselves from beating ourselves? And how is Slot going to set up against a team that has a deadly attack and, the most informed 10 on the planet? So it'll be a really interesting test. I do think that we'll win, and I do think that we'll win by multiple goals. But I just don't want to concede against this team. I want to keep.
Yeah,
I don't want to concede against anybody. And Kelleher's been great against Chelsea in the past, but at the same time, this is a Chelsea game.
Got a bit of voodoo. He's got a bit of voodoo over Chelsea, and because of those 2 cup finals.
But form doesn't matter with these kind of games. No.
I'll read you out their backline, by the way, because I think their backline is quite interesting. Because they've obviously lost Fofana and Cucurella and Reece James, which leaves them with. I mean, they're probably going to play Gusto as right back. Is he a left back or a right back?
I think Gusto plays left.
Yeah, he's left back. Okay. So they'll play Gusto as left back. They'll probably play Colwell on the left-hand side of the defence. They're not going to play Badiashile. They just don't rate him. They don't rate Diassi either. So they'll probably play Tosin, who's the Fulham lad. And then that leaves him with the right-hand side. And
being that Vega guy or whatever his name is? Maybe Gusto?
He's not even in the squad.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Vega might play left and Gusto might play right.
Okay, so if Gusto played right, then Colwell will play left. And that means they're going to put either Diassi or Badiashile in the centre. That is a recipe for disaster.
What about that? The Renato Viega has been playing.
Isn't he a midfielder?
No.
He's in the midfield on SofaScore.
He's been playing left back for them.
Oh, has he? Okay. Okay, so they'll play Vega then.
I think it's going to be Vega on the left and Gusto on the right. But again, the back line is not what's like, and their goalie's a fucking bozo. Like
Yeah, he is. He is.
it's and if you look at the way that Chelsea plays, it's counterattacking goals. How are we going to neutralize the counterattack? Worry about Cole Palmer and the front three and not conceding possession stupidly. Be patient. If you have to, give them the ball. Give them the ball and then hit them. Because, I mean, I'm going to bank our attack against that
Jadon
defense on the
Sancho as
counter.
well. They got Jadon Sancho as well. God. I forgot about him. God, they've got so many forwards. That is mental. They've got Nkunku, Felix, Neto, Sancho, Mudryk, Madueke, Palmer, Jackson, Kellyman, Guhi, who's the Barcelona guy, and Terry George as their forwards. Like, why would you even sign for Chelsea like as a forward?
I don't know. It's going to be tough.
They're light
though.
on midfielders.
I think we really have to approach this game defensively, and we have to frustrate them, and then we have to hit them on the counter. Because
I agree.
I also don't know if we're just going to boss them in the midfield. Caicedo's been looking good. And I just don't back. I just don't back Szoboszlai. I don't back Szoboszlai. I don't.
But you back him for the work rate, and that's important.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really.
But I don't back him for his possession.
Okay. I want us to start. I want us to keep it tight at the start, because I feel like the last couple of games. I mean, the last couple of games they've literally had goals. We've conceded goals, but they've been offside. But it's still the fact that they're getting in there to get the offside goal, which concerns me. So I'd like us to just like keep things tight for the first like 15, 20 minutes, and then. I mean, if we play like we did against Palace, like we were brilliant for large parts of that game, especially from the start. I thought we looked great. Obviously, they had that goal ruled off for offside, which is way offside anyway, by Mateta. But he caused us problems. He caused us problems in that game, and I just hope they don't play like the way Palace did with Jackson, because that could be a problem. But Mo likes Chelsea, so hopefully he rocks up for that game again. I would say 2-0. 2-0.
Hopefully,
if not 2-0, then 3-1. But yeah,
I don't want to concede. I don't want to concede.
2-0, and I'm hoping maybe Canate gets a goal, or Virgil gets a goal, because we need to be scoring more set pieces. We get so many chances from set pieces. It's so annoying we don't score as many. We need to do what Arsenal do. We need to be more clinical with our set pieces, because we're so dominant. I also wanted to touch on the fact that Harvey Elliott's back in training, on the pitch. They're looking at getting him back in first game at the end of October. You think that's good news? Do you think maybe Leipzig for his first game is a bit too soon, or
just don't rush him back? Make sure he's 100% ready, 100% healthy. But we need him. We need him in that Szoboszlai position, because he'll run just as much as Szoboszlai, and he won't carelessly lose the ball.
He'd be great in this game coming up.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be great in this game coming up against Chelsea. I remember.
It's gonna be a squeaky bum bum.
Do you remember when he played in midfield against Chelsea? When Klopp first started playing him in midfield, and he just looked like a monster against Chelsea, and then he got injured against Leeds.
That was what, 2 seasons ago?
Yeah.
3 seasons ago?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the game? Wasn't that the game where Reece James had the red card for the handball?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I remember that game. Shouldn't have been a draw.
No, it shouldn't have been a draw. Well, there's so many games that shouldn't have been draws. Is this the stuff about? Oh yeah. So this is I'm not going to bring that up. There's no point bringing that up. What about this guy? Have you heard about this guy? So he's now linked with us. He's a Red Bull from the Red Bull Leipzig, RB Leipzig. Costello Lugaba.
So many defenders were linked to.
Left-sided as well. Left-footed.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think there's many amazing left-footed centre-backs who can play left-back. Like I think the pool's really small at the moment, but I do think he's a great player, and we've got previous with Leipzig getting their young centre backs, especially French ones. That could be another Canate, like conveyor belt Canate.
Hopefully.
I think we signed Canate when he was 22, didn't we?
Yeah, he was young.
Yeah, so he's similar age, and I think he's already played in the French national team. So could be another one, another route that we follow. I'm fine with us just continuing to do things like that because it worked, and we did really well off it, and we're reaping the benefits now because Canate's having absolute season of his life with us right now. And this one as well, we'll head off in a bit, mate. All right. Loads of links to Rodrigo again. And also Karim Adeyemi. What do you think of those two?
I don't think Rodrigo is going to be worth the price. I also don't think he's going to leave. But Adeyemi's really fast.
I thought he might when Mbappe turned up, but they managed to play all three just consistently. So Endrick and Arda, the Turkish lad, they seem to be the ones that are the backups.
Actually, why are we linked with so many players? Like, is Michael Edwards about to just drop 200 million? Like, what is going on?
I don't know.
Like, that's the thing. I just like.
Well, he's linked out. He's linked out Endo with Inter Milan.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. If you get two more midfielders in, or you just do it like for like, I don't have an issue with it. I mean, Endo was a stopgap. That's all he was.
12 to 16 million. We're looking to basically get our money back, aren't we?
I'm fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with that.
I don't even know what I'm clicking. It's in a different language.
This looks like this looks Italian.
Yeah, so that's on their website. So that's Endo.
That's okay.
And also this guy as well. I mean, I do rate this guy. I do think he's a good player.
We just love Dutch and French. We love the Dutch and we love the French. There's
not many players in the Eredivisie which I'm like raving about, but I do think Quinten Timber is a good player. Gertrude was another one as well, but he's actually gone to Leipzig.
Is this guy Urian?
Yeah, this is Urian. This is Quinten Timber. This is Jurien Timber's brother.
Mm-hmm.
So Van der Vaart has talked about him. Van der Vaart also said that the Gravenberch's could be one of the best midfielders in the world. Like we talked about him years ago. Like
I think he could. I think he's going to end up being a fucking steal.
Oh yeah, I mean, I had my doubts about him last season, like 100%. But
I didn't think he was given a fair. I didn't think he was given a fair chance or played in the proper position. I thought that.
Yeah, that looks like.
Yeah,
that definitely looks like that was the case now, and it also just looks like he might not have. He just might not have had the arm around him, or maybe given the confidence that he's going to be the player. Like you're going to play, mate. Like you don't have to go into training and bust the gut and do all of these mad things like to get yourself into the manager's thoughts. Like you're going to play. Like you've got man of the match in every single game. if it wasn't for like Diaz scoring 2 goals in so many of them. But yeah, I think. Do you think he'll be good against? Do you think he'll be able to handle the midfield against Chelsea?
Yeah. Gravenberch is not going to be my problem. Szoboszlai is going to be where every time he touches the ball, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat, holding myself, being like, please don't fuck up. Please don't fuck up. But Gravenberch, I think he's going to be fine. I think McAllister will be fine. Szoboszlai is the weak link right now. I think maybe Crystal Palace would be like the only game where you could look at Ryan and say that maybe he wasn't as good as he has been. But nothing has shown me that this guy is going to slow down. Unfortunately, Chelsea's midfield is looking good and Caicedo is looking good. But I'm just going to have to trust in Slot and hope that he approaches this game the right way and makes the right in-game adjustments and frustrates this young Chelsea team. Because the more frustrated they get, the better we will play, the more we will be able to hit them on the counter, the more open they'll get. And also, I think we'll just see a different side of Gravenberch because I think he'll be playing a little bit deeper. I also think McAllister will be playing a little bit deeper.
Yeah, I think it'll be a case of I don't think Slot went away this international thing. I think he stayed. At Liverpool. I think this will be a case of him probably looking at previous and seeing how we can beat Chelsea. Maresca's looked good though. I mean, he has looked like a decent manager. He looked like he's got a squad now, and he's got a team that he wants to play, and he's specifically playing players all the time now, which is something that the other lot didn't do because they just had too many, and it was like a kid in a candy shop. Like, oh, what are we going to do with all these? But yeah, I think this will be a. I think this will be if any of the other teams drop points, because City have got Wolves. Wolves beat them last season, which is mad. I think Arsenal got? Arsenal have got a game on the Sunday with us, haven't they?
Yeah, next Sunday.
Oh, okay. So Arsenal
we play Arsenal away.
Who've they got on Saturday?
Which is going to be a tough.
Bournemouth. They got Bournemouth away. That's not an easy game.
We'll see.
Arsenal don't like playing Bournemouth.
Listen, if Arsenal
they
drop
don't like
points,
playing Bournemouth or Brighton.
If Arsenal drop points this weekend and we beat Chelsea, we can afford a draw away to Arsenal.
That could be good. Like, I'm really hoping the Premier League get a breakaway again, where a couple of teams at the top start breaking away from the points wise, and then we don't really have to worry about anybody else. We just have to worry about your Arsenals and your Man Cities. Like, I think I like it like that because then we just have to concentrate on those ones below us. Because I really think that this league will get won by beating the dross. Like, maybe the draws against the big teams. We'll probably be fine with that.
Yeah, I mean, last year I think we took 16 out of 38 from the top six. Exactly. Like if we beat Chelsea, hold them to a clean sheet, and we go away to Arsenal and we beat Arsenal, I'll start talking with chest. I'll be like, okay, you know what? Barring injuries, this team can do whatever the hell it wants. But that's a lot of ifs. So I need to see it. There's a really essential 8-week stretch of the season. It's also imperative that we get as many wins in the Champions League before we play Madrid, who, again, I'm not so scared of this season based on their form, especially in Europe. But just keep piling the wins together, and then everyone's going to have a much different stance in January. But these next 2 Premier League weeks are going to tell us everything. Because if we go draw, okay, we ain't who we thought we were. But
yeah.
we go win, all of a sudden it completely changes the outlook of everything. And it's listen, Arsenal are not going to have Odegaard, which is going to be imperative. So They have their own. They have their own injury crisis going on at the moment. I forgot who else got injured.
Saka got injured, but I think he's fit again.
I think they don't know when he's coming back from the last I read.
Oh, okay. Is he still injured? Okay.
Wait a minute. Let's see.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but without Odegaard, gotta go in there and gotta take 3 points. But we'll see. It's going to be a very interesting 2 weeks of football. And then who do we play at the midweek? We play Leipzig at midweek. Wonderful.
I think that's at home, isn't it? Was that away?
No, Leipzig's away.
It's away. That's a hard one away.
I mean, our next 4 games are Chelsea, Leipzig, Arsenal, Brighton. So gonna be tough.
Yeah, I think this is one of the toughest runs I've seen like in a long time for Liverpool.
Ever.
Yeah, ever. Like when do you ever get Leverkusen at home, Real Madrid at home, Aston Villa at home, Man City at home,
Newcastle away,
Chelsea at home, Arsenal away, Brighton away.
Brighton away and Brighton at home. Yep.
And then you got Newcastle away, and then Everton away.
Listen, Everton away with the way that they're playing this season.
Yeah, I know. The mad thing is as well. The mad thing is everyone kind of just like stopped that hard run after Man City. But we've got Newcastle away, Everton away, and Girona away. Girona aren't an easy team to play.
And then we got Fulham and Tottenham. Like, Tottenham away, and we got Fulham at home. Fulham always give us a problem, and Tottenham.
Mad.
Listen,
that's a real run and a half.
I'm trying to look at like when we get an easy stretch of games, and that doesn't come until the end of January.
I think Leicester.
We get like
Leicester and West Ham. I think is the next easiest ones. That's insane. I tell you what, though, it's going to be good football.
Yeah. Oh wait, we also get to play Southampton away in between all of that. Should be lovely.
Oh, okay, that'll be all right then. Yeah, that'll be.
But
I think Brighton at home will be okay as well. To be honest.
Well, let's just put it this way: we end the season on a
it's an incredibly bad run. It's a horrible run.
No. The end of the season is. I mean, the last 10 games: Southampton, Villa, Everton, Fulham, West Ham, Leicester, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, Brighton, Palace. That's not that
those
bad.
last 5. Tottenham at home, Chelsea away, Arsenal at home, Brighton away, Crystal Palace at home. Yeah, they're not good. I don't like those games.
Arsenal at home could decide. Arsenal at home, maybe
it could decide the title. It could.
Exactly.
I don't want it to be Palace at home to decide the title.
No. I would like to be able to walk in there and lose that game.
Like that season when we went for all 4, I must have aged about 20 years.
Yeah.
It's so emotional. Like
I don't want to deal with it.
That was the season. That was after that season. I genuinely felt like the manager should have gone. Like he should have just gone, or he should have either gone, or he should have just got rid of loads of players. Because that was the time for us to maybe have a transition, because we just got took right through the ringer for so long for the couple of years before that into that. Yeah, man, that was a season where we should have just gone, right, okay, we need this big refresh now. Everyone needs
short again.
Everyone needs to have a chill, just get top 4, have a chill, and then we'll go again. But we didn't do anything. And then we were shit.
Just cross our fingers, take it 1 week at a time.
Absolutely.
Beat this Chelsea team, win at Leipzig, beat Arsenal. I'll start talking my chest.
Yeah. And I'll get you on again now, okay?
Big up.
Right. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do. And massive thanks, Mike, for coming on, mate. Have you got anything coming up that you wanna plug?
Nah.
Check him out on all the channels. Okay, he's on everybody's channels. Are you going on Husam's tomorrow? Are you?
If he hits me up, yeah.
I'm
Hasn't
not.
hit me
I
up
won't
yet.
be on it. I'm at the rents, so
Ah,
yeah, I'm at the in-laws, so I'm not allowed.
we'll just be talking in circles anyway.
Yeah, probably just talk about everything we just talked about anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
All right,
international break.
we're heading out of here. We all think Liverpool will win against Chelsea. I said 2-0. You said 2-0, and didn't you as well?
Hey,
Oh,
I'm on
3.
three.
Oh, he's in. He's in with 3. Okay,
I'm on 3 now.
love it. And up the Reds. And I'll see you next time.